Let me guess. You open your phone for just a quick minute, maybe to jot something down on a list. You mindlessly click on a social media app. You scroll without even thinking about it. And before you know it, you're looking at someone's vacation pictures from Greece. You're seeing that somebody else just launched a business. Somebody else's kitchen looks freaking perfect and like it belongs in a magazine. Somebody else's body looks perfect. And everyone's life looks somehow effortless. And suddenly, without even realizing it, your chest feels tight. You feel bad about your life and you feel behind, like you should be doing more or making more or traveling more. You feel like somehow everyone else got the manual to life except for you. And all you did was scroll. Today, on the Party On podcast, we're talking about how social media quietly fuels anxiety and how to take your power back. Let's face it, life isn't always the party we thought it would be. So how do we find the joy when we need it? And what if it's up to us to create it? That's where the Party On podcast comes in. Our goal, to shine the proverbial disco light on all the things that can make our lives easier, healthier, and a heck of a lot more fun. So we can enjoy the party we were all invited to, live our best lives, and dance like no one's watching. Hey guys, welcome back to the Party On podcast, the place where we talk about real life, real emotions, and how to show up as the most grounded, embodied, and powerful version of yourself so that you can experience more joy in this lifetime. I am so glad to be back with you guys. I took a week off. Life just started lifing and got to be a lot. And I thought to myself, if I can't practice what I preach, then what am I even doing here? Because what do I always say? Put yourself first, take breaks, do what you need to do for you. Everyone else's expectations be darned. When you need to take a step back from whatever you are doing for your own emotional and physical health, that comes first. So that's exactly what I did. And I hope that me doing so can sometimes encourage you guys to do the same in your lives. And it is a great example to our children for them to see that they can take care of themselves and their own mental health and their own physical health should always come first. But back to the podcast. Today, we are diving into something all of us experience, that is, if you are on social media, and that is the mental health impact of social media. So this topic is just near and dear to my heart right now because, as a lot of you know, a lot of you probably found me this way. I have an account on Instagram called The Festive Farmhouse, and it was my original account for my business, The Festive Farm Co. We eventually changed to a separate account for my business, The Festive Farm Co., because the Festive Farmhouse account kind of became its own thing, its own community, and I wanted to keep that place sacred. Well, in around 2020, towards the end, it just became too much for me. It became too taxing for my mental health. And so I made the bold and brave decision to step away. And this year, 5 years later, I made the bold, brave decision to come back to that page and have had so many emotions in doing so, all across the board, from fear to excitement to terror to love to the joy of community. And that's why I'm excited to talk about this topic today, because the things that I have noticed after just a month or so of being back have been truly fascinating. Like, I've almost looked at myself as a case study of how my mental health was before I got back on versus how it is now. And you guys, it's challenging. It is so super challenging. And what I want to say about that is, I don't care how mentally strong you are. These social media apps are designed to mess with your brain and your dopamine levels and what gives you hits of dopamine and what keeps you coming back. And just the power of that has blown me away. Also, the power of the attachment to outcomes. So as humans, we're driven to, once I have this theory that when Mark Zuckerberg first introduced the like button, our brains were forever changed because all of a sudden, external validation was right there within our reach. And we had a quick dopamine hit every time we got one. And it changes your brain chemistry. And that changes how you act. And that changes how you perform. And that changes what you're doing and how you think and what you think you should do. And the list goes on. So I am just so happy to talk about this today because I think it is so, so important. And I really do have some insight because of the last month of my life. And where I want to start is by saying that social media is not evil. And I can attest to this 100% because I have experienced both sides of it, having a large Instagram account. So it's not evil. It has its evil moments, yes, but it's not evil. So I don't want to paint it with that brush. It connects people. It spreads ideas. It spreads creativity. It builds community. But we have to realize that our brains were not designed to process thousands of other people's highlight reels every single day. And they certainly weren't designed to be hooked into seeing one after the other, the way you click on one reel and then you're in it before you know it for 30 reels. Think about how much input and how much information that is going into our brains. So when we do get that much information so quickly, our nervous system often pays the price. And it does some damage. And you have to put some safe parameters around it is what I have come to learn and realize. But before we get into that, let's talk about the ways that social media fuels anxiety and sometimes purely creates it. So number one is an obvious one across the board, but we're going to call it comparison culture. Social media is essentially a comparison machine. And if you haven't realized that yet, I really want you guys to observe, notice, and pay attention. Our brains naturally scan for where we fit in socially. It's an ancient survival instinct. We have talked about this so much. I'm so fascinated by it. But now, instead of comparing ourselves to 10 people in our village, think that that's probably a healthy amount of information for our brain, we're comparing ourselves to 100,000 people on the internet. And we're not even comparing ourselves to their real lives. We're getting their best angles, their best moments, their best lighting, their best filters. It's like judging your entire life based on somebody else's movie trailer. So of course it makes us feel behind. The second thing is we just said this, information overload. Your brain is constantly absorbing, even when you don't realize it is. You just think you're watching a quick reel, but you're absorbing news, opinions, advice, politics, diet tips, parenting strategies, morning routines, and all in just 10 minutes of scrolling. Your nervous system never gets a break. Your brain stays in constant stimulation mode, and anxiety thrives in that environment, let me tell you. And what does that cause? And this is number 3, nervous system overstimulation. So think about this. One moment you're watching a funny dog video. The next you're reading about a global crisis. Then you're watching a fitness influencer. Then a parenting debate. Then a financial tip. And your brain is jumping emotionally and cognitively every few seconds. It's like whiplash. It's whiplash for your brain. And over time, that keeps your nervous system on edge. And here's the truth we don't talk about enough. And I try to on my social media page. If you haven't joined me at the Festive Farmhouse, I hope you do. And when you do, I hope you put some parameters around your social media time because I try to talk about this there because this is a thing we don't talk about enough. Social media is not reality. It's curation. Most people are not posting or talking about their panic attacks or their fights with their spouse or their self-doubt or their messy kitchen or their loneliness. You're seeing their highlight reel while you're living inside your behind the scenes. And that's a completely unfair comparison. So here's what I want you to look for. And these are the things that I really started paying attention to when I came back to Instagram after being gone so long. I want you to notice if you feel worse after scrolling. I want you to notice if you suddenly find yourself feeling more like you're falling behind in life, like you feel worse about where you are. And I want you to notice if you are constantly comparing your body or your career or your family, or this is a big one, if you notice that you're restless when you're not checking your phone. If any of those things are happening, number one, I want you to know it's not because you're weak. Number two, it's because your brain is human. And the goal here isn't necessarily to quit social media. I did that, or I quit Instagram, and then I really, limited the amount that I was on other social media apps. But the goal is never to quit it completely, because let's be honest, a lot of us do our work on it, and even schools and groups keep us informed that way. It's whether we like it or not at this point, it's pretty impossible to quit social media. So our challenge needs to be to change our relationship to it. And that is what I worked on for the past 5 years and have really had to put in play now that I've come back to Instagram. So here are a few of the powerful shifts that have helped me that I want to share with you guys. So, number one, curate your feed like your mental health depends on it, because it does. So I went through, when I came back to Instagram, and unfollowed anything that does not align with who I am or what I'm about, and also anything that makes me feel small, anxious, inadequate. And look, you guys, it's not personal. Some of the accounts I stopped following are beautiful accounts, but they weren't good for my mental health because of me and my brain. Nothing to do with them. And that's kind of how I want you guys to look at this. It's not, you have to assess your own brain, and you have to acknowledge the things that are triggering you. And again, like in life, we can't avoid all triggers, but social media is something that we do have control over, you guys. And one thing I've been saying to my kids a lot lately is we are responsible for the content that we consume. That is up to nobody but us. Nobody is coming to help us curate our social media feeds or tell us what shows to watch and what not to watch. My boys and I had a long conversation about this after we started watching Stranger Things, which fantastic show. And my boys were loving it, and quite frankly, I was loving it, but I was also hating it because I have high anxiety. I don't do well with horror shows, even though a lot of people say it's not a horror show. For me, and someone as sensitive as I am, it was giving me nightmares. And so I had to check myself and say, is watching a show worth it for me? Even though it's really, really good. If it's affecting my sleep and my mental health and causing me nightmares, is this really something, is that really something I need to be doing? I'm the only one that can say, hey, you guys watch this show without me. I'm gonna step back. And that was a big lesson for my boys in that moment of, you are responsible for the content you consume. And that goes for social media. So if you can curate your feed like your mental health depends on it, again, because it does, you will feel so much more grounded. You will feel so much more inspired and calm, because the things that were making you compare, the things that were making you anxious, aren't constantly in your face. So cannot recommend curating your feed enough. It is so, so, so important. Okay, number 2 is a big one, and I have had to work really, really hard on this since I've come back to my Instagram page. Create intentional scrolling windows. So when I first came back, I was so excited to be back that I just, everything kind of went through the window. I just was there and I was in it. And I think it's because I missed my people so much. I missed you guys. And so I just was on Instagram around the clock, connecting and catching up, and it felt so good. And about a week later, my nervous system was really angry with me. And this is how it happens because it's so subtle. These things are so subtle, you guys, that we don't even realize it. And I just think in life, the way life is these days, we're so wired just to keep going and do more and go quicker and faster. And so we don't take the time to realize how things are affecting us. And I'm a prime example because it happened to me. And I knew better, you guys. I knew better coming back. I was nervous about coming back. So I had all these goals of parameters to put in place. And then the second I got back, they just went out the window. So about a week later, I was like, aha, I'm feeling it. I need to create some intentional scrolling time. So instead of checking your phone all day long, decide to get a window of time. So maybe I'll check social media for 15 minutes tonight, or 15 minutes in the morning, or 3 times a day for 15 minutes. For those of us who do work on social media, what I've had to do is put a timer around my social media work time and then a timer around my social media personal time. And it will look different for everybody. So for me, my work on social media puts me on it a little bit longer. And so I have to be a little more intense about my boundaries around it personally so that it doesn't all add up to too much time. So just observe how much you're on it. I know a lot of us get those screen time reports on our phones and we don't look at them because we don't want to know, because we know how bad it is before we look. So maybe get brave, maybe look at your social media time, check it out, see how much it is, and put some boundaries around it. Your brain and your nervous system will thank you. Number 3 for me was replace scrolling with living. The irony of social media is this: the more time we spend watching other people live, the less time we spend living our own life. And this is what I learned in my years away from Instagram. I really became healthier every time I was doing what I wanted to do instead of watching other people do it. And more than that, I was really able to focus on myself and focus on my own creativity and my own healing and my own desires. And I think that when we are constantly watching other people so often and for so long and for so much time during our days, our brains almost start to get confused with what we want versus what other people have. So if we're constantly watching what other people have and what other people are doing, our brains will attach to that and say, I want that, or I want to do that, when that may not actually be the case. And the more that we can tune into ourselves and tune out from other people, the more we can access our own hearts, our own energy, our own desires, our own joy. And I actually found while I was gone that my joy actually comes from a lot of different places than I had previously thought. It's just that I had attached where I thought I should be getting my joy to where I was seeing other people get theirs. And when I came back this time, that was a conscious decision I made, was to hold on to what I learned about myself and to not let other things that I'm absorbing change that. And again, you guys, social media is just sneaky. I think that's the biggest thing that I learned while I was gone, and the biggest lesson I've learned coming back, because I truly believed that when I came back, I was so boundaried that these things weren't going to affect me. And boy, have they ever. And so that's what I want to tell you. It's pretty impossible for it to not affect you. All we can do is to be the most aware we can be and try to put whatever parameters and boundaries we can around certain things to help our mental health. And when we do that, guys, don't forget that that is something that we're showing our children you can do. We're showing our children, and talk to your kids about it. Tell them what you're doing. Tell them you're putting a timer on your phone so that you can check social media and so that they know. And this may be an entire other podcast, but my children will not have social media until they are at least 18, because I just don't believe that their brains are developed enough to process and handle some of the emotional scrutiny and emotional pressures that exist there. But truly, the more time we spend watching other people live, the less time we spend living our own life. So we need to put parameters and boundaries and go outside and call a friend and cook a meal. And don't cook a meal from an Instagram recipe or a Facebook recipe. Cook a meal that your grandmother used to cook. Take a walk, because your nervous system resets in real life. And that's the other observation that I've had coming back. I tried to explain this to my husband, and I was like, it's almost like there's two different worlds and our nervous system knows it. And this is going to sound crazy, you guys, but just hang with me. It's almost like there's a world inside the phone. And even though those people are real and we're all real, our nervous system doesn't see it as real because we can't touch it. We can't access it. We can't experience it with our physical senses. And where our nervous system resets is in the things that are real, the things we can touch, the things we can smell. So get into nature, hug someone, be with the people you love, plan a night out with your girlfriends, and that is how your nervous system calms and resets. And I think one of the most powerful realizations we need to have is that there's a whole world happening, like right in front of us while we're scrolling on a screen. There's real laughter waiting to be had. There's real connection waiting to be had. Not that the connection on social media isn't real, but physically in front of us. There's real sunlight out the window. There's real conversations. And sometimes the most powerful thing we can do for our mental health is just simply to put the phone down. And if you're feeling anxious lately after you scroll, if you feel like you're not doing enough, if you feel like everyone else has it all figured out or has the best clothes and the perfect body, just pause, take a breath, and remember this. The internet is not your measuring stick for a meaningful life. And I want to say that again. The internet is not your measuring stick for a meaningful life. Only you can know what is a meaningful life for you. And your life isn't meant to be performed. It's meant to be lived. So here's your challenge this week. Before you pick up your phone, ask yourself one question. Is there something in my real life I'd rather be doing right now? Because the goal isn't to watch life happen or watch other people do life or watch other people experience life. The goal is for us to experience it. And that, my friends, is how we party on and how we protect our mental health and how we allow ourselves to feel more joy by comparing less, by understanding our brains, by reaching out to others in real life. And our lives only get better when we do that. Once again, I am so grateful that you guys were here today. I'm so grateful that so many of you and I have connected over social media. Again, social media is not the enemy. We just have to learn how to wield it. And we have to learn how to know ourselves and know our minds and know what we need and what boundaries we need to put in place so that it doesn't affect us negatively. And once we do that, it can be the beautiful blessing that it is. I am so grateful for you guys. This podcast is brought to you by the Festive Farm Co. Go check it out. We love what we do there. We love spreading joy. We love spreading love. And we would love for you to be a part of it and to join the mission. So head to thefestivefarmco.com, check out what we have in store, send some love and send some care to someone in your life today. Reach out and send something to somebody real. You will be so glad you did, and so will they. Until next time, party on, friends.